Now, y'all might have noticed that I do a lot of the off-road reviews here at Edmunds, and that I'm always grinning when I do them. You guys, playing in the dirt is an amazing way to make a living. I've been lucky enough to wheel through the dunes of Morocco and Saudi Arabia, the whoops of Mexico, and our local deserts right here in Southern California. I've rallied, raced, and wheeled all kinds of different vehicles. And now I want to share my knowledge with you, especially if you're thinking about going off-road for the first time. Now listen, these are gonna be some very basic techniques. If you want some advanced techniques, let me know in the comments and who knows, maybe you'll get lucky. Okay, first let's talk about tires, because that's going to give you grip and traction. So on your vehicle, you want to look for a tire with a tall sidewall and a lot of really meaty tread, like here on our test Bronco. Now, if you don't have that, that's okay, but maybe stick to just like a flat dirt road. The truth is, the better your tire, the further you can go. But don't get anything that's too big or too heavy, because trust me, that is going to open up a whole other mechanical can of worms, and you do not want to go there. Now, you should always carry a full-size spare. I swear, if I see any of you out on the trail on a donut, I will come find you and it will not be pretty. One spare is good enough for little day trips, but if you're going out for a week or more, you might want to think about getting a second spare. Where are you going to put that second spare? Anywhere, you guys. You have a truck. Sometimes you need a spare for your spare. Ask me how I know. Now, before you take off, you're gonna wanna air down your tires. This is because you want a more comfortable ride, but also, again, it's gonna spread out that footprint and give you more grip. Grip is where it's at. Now, I normally air down to about 25, 26 PSI when I'm just out here in general. If I'm gonna go in soft sand, I'll drop that down to maybe 12 or 15 PSI. Now, you can get yourself this like fancy Dan tire deflator, but they can be expensive, and I don't know, I like to do things simply. So, I just use my glasses. I just do this. And then I wait. And then I check my pressure with my handy dandy little digital tire pressure gauge. But then at the end of the day, you're gonna have to air up, so you're gonna need an air compressor. Now, don't get the kind that hooks into your cigarette lighter, your 12 volt. It's gonna take forever, it's not very good. This one actually attaches to your battery, and it's much faster, and it's not very expensive, maybe like $100, $120. Rule number 2, you gotta bring your recovery gear, because you're new and stuff is gonna happen to you on the trail, and it could be real bad. Now, the most common failure point is tires. Remember when we talked about a full-size spare? So you're gonna wanna have a breaker bar, or you could have a giant impact as well, but I kinda like the old schoolness of this guy. You also might want to think about carrying a tire repair kit. So in here, I've got like a little plug kit. I've got some spare valve cores, all of that, all nice and neat in my little tire repair bag. You're also going to need to jack up your vehicle. Now listen, you can use a scissor jack, right? But this one's been modified, so I've got a sturdy base, and instead of getting out that bar and like having to twist it all normally, watch this. What? Oh my God, that was so fast. Or you can also get a bottle jack. Now this one is actually too small for the Bronco. This is for my off-road car, but it comes with this little CO2 cartridge, and you just turn the valve and it goes bloop, and it lifts your car up really fast. It's pretty awesome. And y'all, don't even worry about those high lift jacks. If you don't know what you're doing, they're super dangerous and you can get really hurt. Okay, that takes care of tires. Real quick lesson there. But listen, if you're out here, chances are you are gonna get stuck. So you are going to need recovery boards. Now, these were actually kind of expensive, but you don't have to spend all that money. There are more brands out there besides MaxTrax. Now, if you're really in a pinch, can you use your floor mats? I mean, sure, but it's gonna be a lot easier with recovery boards. Now, if you've actually got a buddy to help you out, you are going to want a tow rope. Now, there are 2 different kinds. This is a kinetic rope. This is gonna use physics to help drag you out, but you can't actually like tow back to the campsite with it. For that, you are going to need a flat strap. Now, y'all, this is far from a comprehensive list, but this is the minimum that I would go out with. Rule number 3, safety. Safety third. All right, here's the thing, you guys. Never, ever, ever wheel alone. It's just not, well, safe. But if you ignore me and you do wheel alone, be sure to tell somebody where you're going and what time you're gonna be back. You should also invest in some kind of a satellite tracker. You can get a Garmin, you can get a spot tracker. Heck, even on your phone, you can make a satellite text in the emergency if you need to. Make sure that you bring food and water and a jacket, because you don't know if it is going to get cold out there. Also, you gotta know the hand signals out there on the trail. First of all, uphill always has the right of way. Second of all, if you've got oncoming traffic, if you've got 2 people behind you, It's 2. If you're the last person, give them a fist. Now, before we get to the next rule, you know what time it is? It's like and subscribe time. Don't miss any of our content. It's me. All right, rule number 4 is very important, and I'm talking about navigation. Now, you guys, you can use your phone. You can get digital maps from Gaia or Onyx. You can even get Onyx on Apple CarPlay. You can download those maps to your phone so that even when you're out of service, you have access to them. But the thing is, technology can fail. Your phone can overheat, or you can lose battery. That's why you should always have a paper map and a compass, and you should know how to use them, because if you don't know how to use them, it's useless. All right, rule number 5 is if you have 4-wheel drive, you should use it. Now, vehicles like this Bronco are part-time 4-wheel drive. So you've got 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, and 4-wheel drive low. You also have vehicles like Land Rovers that are full-time 4-wheel drive. Now, you want to make sure you use your 4-wheel drive, even if you can do an obstacle in 2-wheel drive, because you don't want to tear up the trail for other folks. But the cool thing is that I can put this vehicle in 4-wheel drive high on the go. I don't have to stop, so that's pretty cool. Now, this is a relatively easy hill that I'm doing, but again, I want to preserve the trail for other people. For example, my off-road vehicle, it's pretty small and it's only 2-wheel drive. So if you have a big old Bronco that's just like digging in and trying to get up a hill in 2-wheel drive, it makes my life really bad. And you guys should do everything for me. Now, when it comes to 4-wheel drive low, this is when you want to have the most control, but at slower speeds. Because in off-roading, it's all about as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. Now, to put this vehicle into 4-wheel drive low, I do have to stop. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is put my transmission into neutral. This is a manual, so I have to keep my clutch engaged, and then I'm just gonna press the 4-wheel drive low button. Gives me a thing, 4-wheel drive shift in progress, okay. And I'm in 4-wheel drive low, what? Now, this brings us to rule number 6, which is using your lockers. Now, a locking differential is going to ensure that both tires spin at the same rate. They get the same amount of power, no matter what is actually going on. Now, I know that I'm going to get a little bit of wheel slip up here, so I'm going to lock that rear. But for some reason, this vehicle makes me actually stop, which is really annoying. So let's see what happens now. See if this will help me get up the car. Get up. Oh, look at that, you little Bronco. Starting in the middle of the hill, and you still do it. Normally, I would not want to stop in the middle of the hill, but in order to lock my rear, that's what this Bronco wanted me to do, and it wouldn't let me do it otherwise. Now, things get really gnarly. I also have a front locker that I can engage. Right here, it's not really necessary. You're gonna wanna use that if you get into some rock crawling, but listen, you're a newbie, it's probably not gonna happen. Oh, and remember, when you're done wheeling, be sure to put your vehicle back into 2-wheel drive, because you don't want to be in 4-wheel drive high or, God forbid, 4-wheel drive low on the pavement. It is no bueno for your drivetrain. Now, you also want to use 4-wheel drive low when you're going down steep hills like this, because it will keep you from riding on the brakes too much. Again, you want to go slow. 4-wheel drive ensures that you can go slow while still having the maximum amount of torque. The Bronco helps you cheat a little bit because there is a downhill descent control. So I'm just gonna press that button because, trust me, 26 degrees is pretty steep. And now my hill descent control is ready. And now the vehicle's kind of gonna do some of the work for me. I know it's kind of like cheating, but again, y'all, this is a pretty steep hill. Rule number 7, know your geometry. Look, geometry was not my best subject in school either, but it's really important because those angles, approach, departure, and breakover, that's gonna tell you which obstacles you can get over without any damage. So your breakover angle is in the middle. That's a function of your ground clearance as well as your wheelbase. I've got a lot of ground clearance here in the Bronco with a short little wheelbase, so I've got a pretty good breakover angle, maybe at the expense of stability. You ever hear about someone high centering where they're just like teeter-tottering on a rock? Yeah, that's because of your breakover angle. The Bronco also has very short front and rear overhangs, so my approach and departure angles are both really good. Now, if your approach angle is too low, you'll have a hard time clearing obstacles and you might just tear off your bumper. Same goes for that departure angle. Rule number 8, y'all, drive within your limits. Look, I know you want to go fast. I want you to go fast. I love going fast. It's so much fun, but you have to earn the right to speed with seat time. You need to practice. Now, having said that, you're gonna need 2 things. You're gonna need wheel travel, which this vehicle doesn't really have. You're also going to need power. Again, this vehicle doesn't really have it. It's just a 2.3 liter 4-banger. Oh, you're also gonna need some really good suspension, okay? Oh, and you're gonna have to commit, because sometimes if you don't commit, things can go haywire real fast. Rule number 9, choose your transmission carefully. Now, most off-road vehicles these days are an automatic, but the Bronco that we got for this video is the manual. It's my first time driving the manual Bronco, and I've been having a lot of fun. I like it because it gives me a lot of control. However, sometimes it's a little hard to finesse. Whereas if you get an automatic, the finesse is pretty easy because you only gotta worry about one foot. But what's great about the manual, and this is kind of nerdy, but you've got all these different ratios and numbers and blah, blah, blah. And once all of that math is added up, this vehicle has a crawl ratio of 95:1. That's the amount that the torque is multiplied before it hits the ground. The automatic Bronco, you're only sitting at about 68. So if you know you're gonna go into a lot of rocks, the manual is probably the right transmission to get. Now, having said that, y'all are newbies, you should probably stick to the auto because it's just gonna be easier. And finally, our most important rule is to tread lightly. You guys, a lot of people in this country, they don't have as many public lands as we do out here in the West, and it's really important for us to take care of them so that we continue to have access to the public lands. What does that mean? That means packing it in and packing it out. Even your poop. Pack out your poop, people. It's important. If you come across trash, you know what? Pick it up and take it with you. If you see like a big pile of trash that maybe you can't take with you, you can go to the Sons of Smoky app and you can mark it on that app, and then that way somebody else who maybe has a pickup truck can come out and get that trash. We all need to work together to make sure that our public lands stay public. Also, remember to stay on marked trails. Unless you're in an open OHV area, you need to stay on that trail. Even if there's like a big log in the middle of it, you gotta go over that log, okay? Don't go around it and widen the trail. You might interfere on really delicate flora or fauna. All right, there's your 10 basic starter rules if you want to go off-road. Of course, we can really dig into the nitty-gritty. So tell me in the comments what you want to learn. Maybe we'll do a video just for you.
But Emmy, isn't the battery also 12 volt?
It sure is, Casey. But when you've got it going, it's just much faster. I don't know, electricity is a mystery.
Cut all this.
I don't know.